Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our transfer reaction show. It's a transfer news show, actually, not even reaction, but just kind of news. It's wonderful to be here because I do reels every day about all the transfer stories that happen. It's always nice to have people on here to actually talk about it with and to actually see what's going on. So, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for being here, actually. I really, so yes, I'm just checking the stream to make sure it's actually working. It is. So right, awesome. So I got Girish and Siddhant here with me. Girish, first time on the show. Welcome. It's very nice to have
Yeah,
you.
hi. Thank you.
Yeah. And Siddhant, of course, welcome back. So it's your first live show, although we've had you on this one quite a few times. But it's nice to have
Yeah,
you again. It's been a while, hasn't it?
yeah. It's been a while. It's nice being here again.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, well, thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. So I put on the chat there. If you have any questions or any latest news, please let us know. My Twitter is down, as I'm assuming a lot of people's Twitter is down. So, if
It's
anybody's
back up now.
it is. Well, mine is
That's
not
all.
yet. Yeah, mine's not yet. But
Yeah.
yeah, if yours is back
Okay.
up, then please do share. Let me just check actually. Yeah, no, mine's not back yet. I think maybe because we're in
No,
Canada, so it
it's
takes a bit
down as
longer.
well. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's down
yeah.
for
I think
me as
maybe
well.
it's going. Yeah, maybe it's going east to west. So it has reached India. UAE. Because Girish is in UAE, so it's UAE and then
Possibly.
to Canada. So eventually we'll get here.
Maybe.
Because I think mine also went down later than others as well. I think the Twitter down was trending long before mine went down. So yeah, maybe that's how they work. So east to west. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, if there is any updates or anything that you've noticed, please do share in the comments. Unlike the last one where Mason Mount was signed, and I was doing a live rant about Mount not signing, and then suddenly I hear that he signed about an hour ago. It's a bit embarrassing, so maybe not to have that. But anyway, let's get right into it. You know what? We'll start off with the biggest, the hottest news of the week, and it's not Mason Mount; it's actually Declan Rice. Girish comes from West Ham
Pretty
United,
much, pretty
100,000.
much been the hottest news for the past few months, in fact.
Yeah,
And let me be very honest with you that I was, for one, not really, into the transfer of Declan Rice. I wanted Amrabat or Caicedo, because I believed Rice, even though he's a promising prospect, he's been doing really well for West Ham for the past 3 or 4 years, very consistent in the England setup as well. But it's always a factor of pushing forward. He's been more of a player who can recycle possession after winning it back. So I felt Amrabat is a monster in midfield, as he showed with Morocco in the World Cup, and with Caicedo, he's young and he's got the drive and energy as well. But let's hope for the best. And the price is huge, being an Englishman. So again, I trust Arteta and Edu, more than me.
yeah. It's 95
So
million pounds plus 10 million pounds in add-on, so 150. I think it's 90 plus. I'm not sure. I think it's 95 plus 10.
no, it's 100 plus 5 million in
It's 100
add-ons,
plus 5. Yeah,
Oh yeah, 100.
and West Ham wanted paid in 18 months actually. So it's huge.
exactly.
It's a British transfer record, so
It is, yeah. He's the
it's going
most
to be huge.
expensive. Yeah, he's now the most
Yeah,
expensive English player, beating Jack Grealish, of course. But
yeah.
Matt, how do you see the signing with for Arsenal? Because obviously they needed someone in that sort of Xhaka role because Xhaka is leaving. So I think he's. I mean, I think he's an upgrade on Xhaka. But what do you think of the transfer? Do you think it's a fair value, or do you think it's
Mm, now going by
sorry,
hints that were being given by Arteta,
yeah.
Havertz might be the one who might be getting into midfield. That is what he said. You know, and I believe it's going to be an interchange between Partey and Declan Rice as to who would be holding the midfield. It depends on who would be overlapping or who would be underlapping into the inverted role. If Zinchenko is going to be underlapping, maybe Rice would be the one holding. If Timber would be underlapping or playing in an inverted role, it might be Partey holding. It depends again.
Sudan?
So
Yeah, Sudan, what do you think? Yeah.
So I agree with Girish here. Actually, I don't think. I think he's there to replace Party in a way, and he's going to play much deeper than what Zaka was playing actually. So Zaka was kind of like the ball carrier and the ball advancer for Arsenal. And I've always said that the best property or the best characteristic of Declan Rice is he's one of the best at stopping the opposition attacks and just starting the new ones. Is kind of like what Jorginho was supposed to be like, but much more, much more of a finished product with respect to that characteristic. So I think that's the role which he's going to play just ahead of the centre backs. You know. And I think if he plays at that role, then probably he's, the best or maybe one of the best since Rodri is also in the league, but he's definitely one of the top two or top three people in that particular role in the league.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, so you think Partey will stay at the club? 'Cause I mean,
I think he will do.
you will. No, okay. Let me ask you this, Siddhant, because I mean, others said this. I'll put you on the spot because others said Havertz is a piece of shit player. He said this live on my week. He said this. What do you think? Is he that, or is he? Because you've seen Havertz much more closely than I have, and I'm sure Girish probably hasn't seen him that closely either. But do you
No,
agree with
not
others'
much.
assessment
You're,
of him?
you're talking about Rice?
No, Havertz. Havertz. You
Huh,
said about
so
Havertz. Yeah.
yeah, so what what exactly do you want to know about him? As in his
Is he,
position or
no, is he a piece of shit player? Is he a piece of shit player? Do you agree with his assessment, or do you think no?
not really, but I think either it's that he should be afforded a lot of freedom in the team, or maybe it's just that he is not exactly suited to the Premier League because in the league you are supposed to actually you know just also have a defensive aspect to your game, track back, things like that. He does that, but he doesn't like it. And at Bayer he had absolute freedom, and even in the starting days of Chelsea he had absolute freedom to to change his own positions, and the team will accommodate accordingly. And in that sort of role, in a free role, kind of like when maybe like when Hazard was like a number 10, or maybe when Ozil was playing number 10 for Arsenal, he would probably thrive in that role. But he gets frustrated when he's playing at number 9, and he gets frustrated playing out wide. I mean, he needs to play at that CAM role, at that number 10 role.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't play at that role, you're not going to get the best out of him.
Okay, which that means that I mean he's not going to play number 10 at Arsenal though because you've got Odegaard there. So well,
No.
we've already frustrated Arsenal have already frustrated him. So 65 million pounds for a frustrated player. So anyway, well that's a question I think when we do the preview for Arsenal, I think we can probably talk about that more because we want to move on to other transfer stories as well. So we can put that another day. Another
Sure.
hot one is Dominik Szoboszlai to Liverpool. He's on my, this happened yesterday. It had to happen yesterday because of the release clause and all of that. But I'll come to you first, Siddhant, here for this one. I'll start with you. But what do you think about this transfer? Because I've seen a bit of him, and and he's obviously very, very highly rated in many circles. But 70 million euros, which is almost the same as what United paid for by Mason Mount. What do you think of him? They're getting these good deals, but yeah, what's going on with that one?
And not just that, from my understanding, since they have triggered the release clause, it means that there are no add-ons involved. It is straightforward 70 million euros, and that too you have to. I'm just guessing because they said that they have triggered the release clause. They have to pay it upfront, as in no installments and no
That
add-ons.
they're still
So
negotiating. Well, they can negotiate if they're okay with taking installments. They've activated
because
it.
from my understanding, the negotiation period ended on 30th June,
No, what
end
I
of
mean
the
is,
day,
yeah,
because
no, what I mean is that that they said they would pay the 70 million, but they negotiated how the payment
the
structure can
terms of
still
the
be
payment.
negotiated. Like, so I think they
Okay, so if
negotiate.
they are negotiate, yeah, so if they're
Yeah,
negotiating, fine, that could still be a bit better financially for Liverpool.
yeah,
The fact is that I've not watched him play live, but when I'm watching the how what people have to say, it was the partnership of him with Nkunku which yielded the best results for Leipzig.
hmm
So I don't know whether how well can he be rated in isolation. That is something which we'll see only once he plays at Liverpool. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah.
that's what I think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. My take is, of course, he's with Leipzig, and Leipzig do play a style which is similar to what Klopp likes to play at Liverpool because they have the whole gegenpressing thing. So there's obviously going to be some synergy. My thing is, as you said, is partnership with Nkunku, which means he usually plays up the right wing. So Girish, I mean, if people are saying that is he going to play at the right wing, which means he can't play on the right wing though because you got Mo Salah there, so you can't play
No.
him there. Do
No,
you play him at
I,
the
I,
right wing?
I I think he's going to be more
Yeah,
central. He's going to be more
yeah.
central here, as you said. See, actually, Liverpool really don't have someone, really did not replace Coutinho as such. So with regard to Szoboszlai, he's a stronger Coutinho who can be more powerful,
Yeah.
And he can give those thrusting runs, which is similar to Goretzka, and he can also have that fine touches, which is similar to Coutinho. He can do a bit of both. And as you said, Leipzig, they do have a very fast playing style, which is similar to Liverpool. It suits Klopp.
Yeah.
So, and whatever Liverpool had hoped with Naby Keita, since he also came through Leipzig, maybe they can achieve it through Szoboszlai here. He's a very good player. I've seen him play for Hungary before, but not really up close with Leipzig, but with Hungary, of course. But he's a very, really good player, and Arsenal were looking at him too, as in most of the players whom we are going to talk about today. Maybe 7 out of 10 players Arsenal would have looked at.
Well, Arsenal. Well, I think Arsenal look at a lot of places. I think Arsenal is the club with the
Yeah,
second
absolutely.
highest, the one with who looks at the second highest number of players in a season. If you could do a whole list of who looked at which players, you will find that Arsenal probably second in that list.
Absolutely.
Because who is first? The first is Manchester United. They look at everybody. They never sign anyone, but they look at everybody. But
No,
they didn't sign one.
that way even Chelsea have a list. This guy was there in the list.
Yeah,
there is Kudus in the list. There is a guy called Wirtz in the list. I mean, there are all sorts of people in the list.
Wirtz, I've seen a little bit of him. He's very highly, Wirtz and Szoboszlai are very highly rated in FIFA. So if you ever played FIFA and you want to buy like a young player who's going to go in potential, you normally go for Wirtz.
I'm stuck with FIFA 17, so I'm really not upgraded from FIFA 17.
I'm on FIFA 22, and now I feel like I'm higher than, I'm on 22, not on 23 yet, but I'll probably by 24. But anyway, right. So talking about Manchester United, they did sign a player though, finally, this week. And, as I was doing the live video, I should wear that blue t-shirt more. I feel like there's a lot that happened when I wore that blue t-shirt. But anyway, I meant black today. But Sid, Siddhant, I'll start with you only because this one is, someone Chelsea. Mason Mount, somebody who's Chelsea, born and bred, so to speak, like someone who's supposed to be like the new John Terry, new Frank Lampard, all that. He's now moved on to Manchester United. 60 million pounds, 25 million pounds plus 5 million pounds in add-ons. The add-ons are basically things like if he's going to win the Ballon d'Or or if he's going to do all of that, not that. But apparently they're very difficult add-ons, whatever that means. What do you think? I mean, let's start from the Chelsea perspective. Are you happy that Chelsea have sold the player? Do you think that was time for him to go, or do you think Chelsea should have kept him?
No, so it's not at all. It's far from an ideal situation. So obviously all Chelsea fans, barring the last season, that can be considered as an outlier. But barring the last season, everyone would have preferred Mason Mount to stay. But from the business perspective, since the last 6 months, he has refused to sign new contracts. In fact, the last one which he was offered was more than 200,000 pounds a week offer, which he refused. And there have been many other stories as well that that the club backtracked on their whatever verbal promises they had made to him and things like that. But the situation is far from ideal, and with less than 1 year left on his contract and him clarifying that he's not going to sign a new contract, I think there was nothing else which Chelsea could have done. So he had to be sold, and from that perspective, I feel that we have got a rich piece for him.
Yeah.
So
but, it's just you sniffing. He's not crying that Mason Mount is gone. I think that's just a noise.
No, I have an allergy.
He's happy, isn't it?
It's not tears. Girish, I mean, like you touched on the fee, 55 million pounds. Do you think that's a reasonable price, or do you think that's overpriced for him?
Oh, it's very high as such. Don't compare it with Rice again. 55 million pounds is very high for a player who's got just a year on this contract left. And I think United have made a mistake by not, buying out Marcel Sabitzer from Munich. It's pretty good. And they have let go of Sabitzer and have brought in Mason Mount. Maybe this might ease Bruno Fernandes a little bit, on his playmaking duties. But I still believe that it's very high in fees, and Chelsea have profited a lot. And right from Havertz and to Mason Mount, and from all this exodus to Saudi, Chelsea have done a good job.
Now. One deal fell through, so only two. It's supposed to be three, but it's only two, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah.
But, I'm okay with them not bringing in Sabitzer because he was okay, but he wasn't able to even get ahead of Fred in some games. And quite frankly, I mean, he was injured quite a lot as well. So he's quite injury prone, as it turns out. So it's not worth buying a player like that. Mason Mount's injury record is pretty good. Apparently, he hasn't missed a lot of games. Sudan can probably back that up, but he hasn't missed a lot of games. And that's
Not apart from last season, he has not missed a lot of games.
yeah,
And he has always been good physically,
Yeah,
and he
because of
always
the
has a
change in
good work rate.
managers.
yeah. But my worry is that he's a good
Yeah,
work
that's
rate
right.
player, but he's not. He's a but it's very overpriced. I would not have paid more than 40 million pounds for him. I know probably people think 40 million pounds is too low, but I think that's his value because he only has 1 year left on his contract. He is, and I said this, he's a bench warmer for Chelsea because now when Chelsea do get Moises Caicedo, he will not even be starting. So he wouldn't be starting. You're basically buying
Yeah.
a player who's a bench player for a 12th place team. So yeah, so anyway, that's what I think. But we'll see what happens. I'm not. I think anybody who's watched this show, the 10s and 20 people who watch this show, they know that. And I'm just underrating a bit, but yes, but they know that I don't like Mason Mount. I don't rate him quite highly. So I will see what happens. But to your point, I don't think he will be playing. He will be a backup for Bruno. I think he will be playing next to Casemiro in that number 8 role. So it will be Bruno, Casemiro, and Mount playing together. Unless
I'll just like to point out one thing, that even though all Chelsea fans also rated him as a midfielder and wanted him to be a midfielder, he never ever or hardly ever played as a midfielder for Chelsea. He
yeah,
was always either on the right flank or on the left flank.
yeah,
He has always actually played as an
Yeah.
attacker.
yeah.
So, you never know which position Mount is going to play for United. So
Yeah, you know what? That's another thing. Yes, don't know what position he's going to play. It's going to be very interesting. But you paid 55 million pounds for a player like that. It's it's maybe is he the English Harvards then? In that case, no, it's probably not. That's probably too far to say.
exactly. They are twins in that aspect. So,
I think Havertz is better
Yeah,
here.
no, I wouldn't.
I think Havertz is
That's a bit harsh. I'm being a bit
better.
harsh, but we'll see what happens with Mason Mount. That'll be interesting. But speaking of Moises Caicedo, 80 million pounds. That's what Brighton have asked for him. Girish, now I know Arsenal will not go for him anymore. There was talk that they would get Rice and Caicedo. That was trending for a while. That's not happening anymore. Chelsea, should they pay 80 million pounds for Moises Caicedo? Do you think that's a fair price?
Absolutely, absolutely. They need a person in there. They've already let go of Kante. Who was really good.
Yeah,
Can you hear
yeah.
me?
yeah.
Yeah.
Connection.
Yeah.
There's some issue with the network, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. So they've already let go of Kante, who was really good. Apart from those injuries that he had. So they do need a person to replace. He's hardly 21, 22, right? So he's got his best years of football ahead of him, and I think Chelsea should just go out and pay whatever Brighton are asking. 80 million or 180 million doesn't matter, but they've got all that money coming in anyway from from all these exits. So they've got the funds. They should
Well,
go
the
ahead and pay.
exits are covering the 600 million pounds that they already paid. So then not first they have to cover that, but then they look at that. So now I think maybe that'll happen. But yeah, Sid, would you pay 80 million pounds if you were a Chelsea fan? 80 million pounds for Caicedo?
Actually, on the contrary, I would like to believe that it will be difficult to get him for 80 million pounds. That is the figure which is being reported by journalists like Jacob Steinberg, who are saying that Brighton will be asking for 100 million pounds or more, but it should get done in 80 million pounds. And we have not even placed a bid yet. I mean, right now, if I see it from the perspective of a transfer happening, we are actually far away.
Yeah.
And a surprise bid could come in from anywhere. We have not even placed an official bid yet. We have just agreed personal terms with Caicedo, is what they are saying. Now, coming to the requirement of Caicedo, I think by now we have put ourselves in a position that we have to go for him. We have emptied our midfield. I mean, Kante is gone, Jorginho is gone, Kovacic is gone, Ruben Loftus-Cheek is gone. Only Enzo is left from the senior midfielders. We don't have any midfielders left. Even Mason Mount, the midfielder, has gone. So, I mean, we are not left with any midfielders or even standby midfielders. So we have to go for him. There's no other option right now.
Chelsea has so many players that I keep forgetting who's there and who's not there anymore. Like I don't even know who's honestly. Sometimes I think who's actually still at Chelsea. Is this guy?
In fact, I think Chelsea have got a 60 million pound bid rejected from Brighton.
60
That's
million
what the the papers say.
Yeah, not
Okay, but
sure if that is
anyway, it was
happening.
just a
So that's the idea, right?
teaser
That
to
they
Brighton,
will.
maybe.
That's the idea. Chelsea will say 60. Brighton will say 120, and then they will come and try to meet somewhere. Then
You got to
maybe
settle
like
for
a
80 or 90 anyway.
80 plus add-ons, yeah. 80 plus. And I mean, let's talk Manchester United might make a bid as well. I don't think that will happen. I think that's just paper talk. That's the definition of paper talk. They don't have money to do those kind of deals. But we'll see. I think he will go to Chelsea. I do think he will go to Chelsea. I think Chelsea will benefit from him quite immensely. But yeah, the price tag is, of course, going to be something to look at. And speaking of price tags, ZX transfer fell through. So that, I mean, it's unfortunate, isn't it, for him? He wanted to go to PSG. That fell through. And he wanted to go to Saudi. That falls through. It's almost like Chelsea has this gravitational force that keeps pulling him back towards them. It's like, no, you're not going to go. We keep pulling you back. But apparently the knee injury issue is a problem. And now the problem I think that I was talking about is the fact that if it's a serious issue that Saudi don't want him, is it possible that other clubs might go, right, well, if he's not good enough for the Saudi league, he can't be good enough for us either? Do you think that might be a case? Or with that injury
Uh, see, not necessarily. Basically, he had cleared the medicals of the PSG transfer. It's just because the documentation didn't come through because of the Enzo saga going on that he could not. In fact, it reminds me of a player called the Loic Remy. He had failed his medical with Liverpool, but in the same transfer window, he cleared his medical with Chelsea.
Yeah.
So I guess we just don't know about the nuances of what exactly different clubs are looking for.
Yeah.
Because he played recently for Chelsea as well. He was not injured recently. Maybe it's like a
Yeah, that is
long-standing.
from Newcastle, isn't it? Like Remy,
Yeah,
the Frenchman from Newcastle,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
I also wonder,
Yeah.
and I'll put this
Yeah.
out as a conspiracy theory, because now we know that Marcelo Brozovic was supposed to go to Saudi as well, and they agreed all the conditions, and then they started renegotiating with Inter to try to get a lower fee.
So
Is that
exactly. So I'll tell you the contradictory reports. So one reporter is saying that he failed his medical, but the other reporter is saying that they just saw something with his knee and his hip, and they were trying to reduce his salary by 40%. And because these two things did not happen together, that's why the transfer fell through. And so it looks like the club Al-Nassr is trying to lowball. They try to reduce the decided transfer fee of 23 million euros with Inter Milan to 15 million euros. They try to lowball him by ZH by trying to reduce his wages. So I think there's something else happening which we quite don't know about.
maybe the billions are just that. They're billions that when they get reduced, they become millions, and maybe that's always. Even billionaires have a limit, right? Even billionaires run out of money. I guess that's what's
Or
happening.
maybe Ronaldo doesn't approve of these players.
It could be. It could be. It could be. I mean,
Maybe.
yeah, it could very
It's
well
possible.
be that's the case as well. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't rule that out either. But
But being in the UAE, I can't talk about Saudi as such. Too much of.
yeah, no, you don't have to.
You
It's
can
okay.
understand, right?
We don't want you to get into trouble. We don't want you to get into trouble, Girish. It's fine. But yeah, it's interesting. So it's a conspiracy theory. I don't think that's the case, but it's something that's happening. All right, moving on to another complete little Girish. We'll come back to you, Jurrien Timber. Now that official announcement has not come through, and I don't think Fabrizio has given a year we go either. But there was remotes from Mike Wave, who is quite well versed.
No, this was reported by Fabrizio. Like it would be done
he's not given
right
a year
after
before.
the financial year
Yeah.
has started for the Dutch. That starts today. So maybe I expect it to be done on Monday because the medicals have already been booked as per a few news outlets.
Yeah,
Right from Chris Wheatley to Charles Watts, they've reported the same thing. They're all trustable sources.
Yeah, like I said, that I haven't
So
got a we go, but most people have said that a deal is done, that there's been an agreement on the fee. What do you think of the play? Do you like him?
Yeah.
Are you excited about the signing?
To be frank, I've not seen much of Timber, but even though I've read about him a lot in recent times, so he seems to be a great guy again. 21, 22 years of age. He's got the prime years ahead of him, and he's going to have a good resale value. He's a Dutch international. He's a full-time international, and he's been through a really good club in Ajax, and it's again a very good transfer, and he can give competition to White and to Tomiyasu, and to the three of them. And with respect to White, he has been doing a lot of overlapping the previous season. So now maybe Arteta would switch over to have an inverted right back too, which is what Tomiyasu would have done. But because of his injuries and he fell out of favor, so he couldn't do it. But maybe with Timber, yes, it's possible. And it's possible that White can have a cover for William Saliba, who's having a back injury as such. So I think it's a good move. We needed cover there. I think it's a very good move.
Whenever I think of Timber, it just
So
reminds me of
hopefully he
that
comes through
Kesha
well.
song. I'm sure everybody knows. Have a big going Timber, song. I don't know, anybody. Yeah, so that's what I remember. But yeah, Siddhant, what's your take? I mean, I'm sure you've not watched a lot of Timber. I have not. He was very highly rated last year and linked with Manchester United, of course, because he's from Ajax. So everybody gets linked with Manchester United these days when they come from Ajax. But I mean, he's actually, I think, about the same height as Lisandro Martinez, which is very, very interesting when you think both of them
Oh,
used to.
Now he's a couple of inches taller.
Yeah,
Let me tell you.
couple of inches same. Yeah, it's like 5. I think one is 5'9". I think the other is 5'10", something like that. They're both
He's 5'11".
they're
Yeah.
both quite short. But they both played together as a centre back pairing, which I don't know how that worked out. I never watched the games. That would have been interesting. But yeah, how do you see him? Do you see that as a good signing for Arsenal to bring in somebody who can be a backup centre back as well as a backup right back?
see, the thing is that, of course, I've not watched him live, but recent track record from the Dutch league is not very inspiring, I feel, especially
Martinez did
to,
well.
to yeah, but then you think of players like Ziyech, then Anthony, and then
And
Donny van de Beek.
Van de Beek,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, so
But there's all United players, so
so
you can't say, well, most of them are.
so
Yeah.
so there is certainly certain Dutch league tax and even the Bundesliga tax which comes with players who come from there to PL. Not everyone is meant for PL, so that's why I'll just reserve my judgment. I can't speak how good he will be or he will not be, but we'll have to wait and watch. I don't think without watching him and the league which he comes from, so I don't think we can make a judgment on him yet.
Yeah, it'll be. I think it'll be interesting to see how he settles in. But the good news is he's not coming as a starter. I think he's coming more as a squad option, like a squad rotation option. So at least I will give him
But
like
then for a squad player, the amount
40
being quoted is quite high.
42 million euros.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 38 million pounds. It's 38 million is
42 million
fine.
euros.
Okay.
That's like that's not. Yeah, that's like what two
I
thirds.
heard. Okay, I heard something like 40 million pounds, but yeah,
Yeah, 42 million
right,
euros, which comes up to 42 plus add-ons, which comes up to about 40 million pounds. Yeah, that's like the going rate. I
right,
mean, coach it was 25 million pounds. I mean, you guys send a striker for 30 million, backup striker for 30 million pounds. So it's like
right.
these days you get to why there's a flyer on
He,
there.
he could he could turn out to be the only striker which we signed.
What is that? Nkunku and Jackson, you've got your two strikers, so that's done now. And
Right, right.
yeah, you got that. That's all
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But
I know
Nkunku,
Nkunku,
I'm sure Pochettino is going to play. I know we are going to take up Nkunku later, but I think Pochettino will be playing like a 4-2-3-1. So I don't think Nkunku will be playing the striker. I think he'll be playing the second striker in
Oh,
that setup.
well, we're not going to talk about Nkunku because we talked about it last week. But sure, you don't think he's going to be the main
Oh,
striker?
cool.
I thought he is going to be the main striker. That was the idea.
No. Again, it will be the same Havertz mistake if we do that, I feel personally.
Okay. Well, that'd be interesting. Okay. Well, well, I mean, yeah. I mean, you need to. That means okay. Well, I guess it makes sense. That means you do need a striker then, if that's the case. But I don't know who you're going to find at this point. I mean, yeah. Well, we will talk about a striker, but we'll come to that later. A couple of strikers, but let's get a few other bits and bobs. James Maddison moving to Tottenham Hotspur. Girish, what are your thoughts on that one? We'll just quickly zoom through this one. So we don't spend much time first. But
Well, he's a good player, but again, he's lazy, and I think he would suit Spurs in that regard because the whole team is lazy as such.
oh my.
So
Yeah, I mean,
coming from an Arsenal supporter, you know what to expect from me anyway. But
okay, let me put this question to Siddhant: Is Maddison at 40 million pounds a better deal than Havertz at 65 and Mount at 55?
Hands down. I mean, definitely. I mean, people, I know, see, since he's playing for Leicester's, both Maddison as well as Tielemans, I think they get underrated. But I think Maddison is a solid attacking midfield player. I mean, and if you think about his characteristics, he has most of the good things in him. As in, he is a good free kick taker as well, set piece taker. He can shoot very well from outside the box, from inside the box, from anything. He can pass decently. He can lay through balls. So, with respect to being an attacking midfielder, he's good. He's really, really good. And if you ask me at 40 million pounds for a homegrown player, then that's fantastic, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, 40 million pounds for an English player is always something. Yeah, I just feel that he's very one-dimensional as a player. I think he can only play as a number 10. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah, he
think
is. I
he's-
mean, he will not track back. He's not going to do any of those things. But yeah, he will definitely get goals for Spurs.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, well, we'll see. We'll see which one turns out to be the best of the three. But yeah, I would say yeah, deal-wise, yeah, I probably would agree with you. And then coming to the other one, Siddhant, back to you. Pau Torres and Tielemans, who you spoke about. Aston Villa making some big moves, eh? Pau Torres for 35 million
Yeah,
euros. Tielemans on a
yeah,
fee. They want to try and get Ferran Torres in as well on loan. So looking like they're going to take Europa League, the Conference League seriously. They want to build a squad that can compete on two fronts.
yeah, and they have got a good manager to back the squad with. I mean,
Yeah.
they have done good business. I think Tielemans choosing them is good. I mean, I think at some point of time Arsenal were also in the running for Tielemans, but
Yeah.
he, yeah, but I think they are making some good transfers and some shrewd transfers. They are not trying to overspend or something. They are going for really quality players on the cheap, and in the long run, this strategy will definitely help them.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of shoe transfers, I don't know if you guys have been following, but I've been following PSG's transfers, Paris Saint-Germain, and they've done some good business. I mean, I've got to say, they got Asensio on a free, they got Kang and Lee on a free, they've got Lucas Hernandez for only about 50 million euros. They've also got Manuel Ugarte, who Chelsea were linked with, and then ended up at
Yes.
PSG. Girish, do you think it's now things are starting to change at PSG? Maybe they're moving away from the Hollywood signings. They're trying to now
yeah,
get these kind of value signings, get good deals. Nasser talked about it last year, and I think now they're finally starting to act on it.
yeah. And now they've got Enrique in, and now they know what to expect. During his Barcelona days as well, he had some really good attacking fullbacks. Now they've got Hakimi on the other side, and Hernandez on the left is. It's going to be marauding,
Yeah,
overlapping play. Both of them can. They've got really good pace. On them, so they're quick and they're good defenders in their right as well. And they've got a great team. They're assembling a great team again. So it is again, it comes down to mentality in the end. Man City was questioned about it for the past three seasons when they failed to, make to the finals, and even when they made to the finals, they didn't win. So it again comes to the big game mentality. Do they have it? I guess Enrique will provide it. And now with Hernandez, I think he's a statement signing from Bayern.
yeah, yeah. That'll be interesting. Sudan, do you think there will be that things will change at PSG? That they'll be more of a challenger for the Champions League this year? Do you think that's possible?
No, I'm not sure about that because their squad is still in a state of transition. Is what I think that Messi has left them.
Was that a big loss?
Neymar
Did he
looks to
really do
be
much? I mean, I don't know if it's
no,
really a
no.
big loss, but
No, I mean the front three, right? So even Neymar looks like, he might be leaving. And I don't think they have adequately replaced these guys. They have tons of goalkeepers, but not enough attackers, I feel.
hmm.
The quality attackers, and now there's the whole Mbappe saga of the year again.
Yeah,
So,
power Mbappe. We do
there's
love
there
power Mbappe.
yeah, they're signing all these players for free. They might end up losing Mbappe for free next season. So, we never know what's going to happen. But what I can, looking at the squad, it doesn't look like they are still going to be a Champions League winning squad anytime soon. Not this season. I don't think so.
Well, yeah, I mean, it might be a step too far, but at least it's a step in the right direction. That's what I think. And then they're starting
Yeah,
to move away from the Neymars and the Messis and all of that and starting to focus on a different, which is what they need to do anyway. But let's hope for the best for PSG. Let's see what happens. With that, of course, well, Qatar might be distracted with another club soon anyway, so that might happen as well. I don't know when that will happen. When that will happen, I don't know, but it might happen. And then, of course, let's move on to some. They've talked about a few done deals now. But one more done deal, Siddhant, Kim and Jae. Kim and Jae moving to Bayern Munich. I mean, United were in for him all for like 6 months apparently. I don't know what they were doing for 6 months, but
they were monitoring him.
yeah, they were monitoring him, seducing him. They were trying to flirt with him, and then like somebody else just came in and said, "Will you marry me?" And then she said, "Yeah, that's fine." So that's what happens. The key here is or
Yeah,
it could be a boy, by the way, and whichever way you want to go, and not be very inclusive. So yeah, the model is whether you like a guy or whether you like a girl. It's not it's not what matters is to seal the deal and not just keep flirting with them for
right,
6 months. But anyway, Kim and Jae, how's that signing for Bayern? Because I mean they've obviously lost Lucas Hernandez. I think that deal was kind of
right,
partially influenced by Kim and Jae. Do you think it's a good signing for
right.
Bayern, one that they needed?
Yeah. It's a great signing. He had a fantastic season. And I think overall the pull of Bayern as a club sometimes goes under the radar. I mean, a lot of players are such that they cannot say no to Bayern. Even though the Bundesliga is kind of like a one-dimensional league, but in spite of that, I think the history and the winning mentality of Bayern is really appealing to a lot of players. I mean,
I think it's also they
so
move fast.
but
They go very fast. Like they go in and
yeah.
that helps, right? When a player is undecided, they can just go, right, this is what I'm getting right now. And sometimes
They're a very well-run club. I mean, they don't have issues financially, and they have never had that. Because they make the right deals, they make the right decisions. They don't overpay, but sometimes they just about pay right money and get
yeah,
the player in. And players are always, you know, they always fancy the Bayern project, and they will always get to win stuff over there. So, they never have issues in getting their targets. So
yeah, usually don't. Yeah. They don't miss out on targets. It is, yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, they did need a center back, and I'm sure Kim Min-Jae will do really well at Bayern. And
yeah,
I will watch him, and I just like Alvarez when he breaks my heart every time he plays well. I'm sure next season it will be Kim Min-Jae who will break my heart. But anyway, at least I don't
yeah.
watch Bayern that often, so that's all right. But let's talk about a few other rumors now. We talked about done deals, talked about rumors, and the biggest one, the most ridiculous one that I heard today. We'll start with that one, Girish. Um, Kylian Mbappe might be going to Arsenal. Arsenal are about to make a bid for Kylian Mbappe, apparently. I mean, you're shaking your head. I don't just, have too much for snap. But
I don't think this is happening again. Why would Mbappe leave PSG with just a year on his contract when he's gone to Real most probably next year? You know, the pull of the Galacticos is always big. It's the biggest club in the world. If you consider right from the superstars who do end up playing there. So I don't think it's going to happen. Not in my wildest dreams as well. So if it happens, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it all
yeah.
along.
It's
But
never going to
I don't
happen.
think it's
It's
going to
never
happen
going
at
to
all.
happen.
Impossible.
Well, apparently, Arsene Wenger almost signed him when he was a kid, right? That was the thing, right? That's running.
No,
Well, we
that
all
way,
know,
that way
the
you have
almost signed stories.
that way you have Mbappe holding
We do
the
have.
Chelsea shirt, man. He went under a trial at Chelsea. So
Uh, yeah.
that doesn't mean anything today.
Yeah, it does. No, it does not. No, no. I just don't think the finances make sense. I don't think Arsenal spend that kind of money on players. Like you're looking at probably 150 million euros first for the player. Then you've got to pay him a salary, which is going to be extortionate. So yeah, I don't think the economics of that deal would ever make sense for Arsenal. But
I don't know if Siddhant knows that Havertz is the highest earner at
yeah,
Arsenal right now. Do you know that,
330,000 pounds for
Siddhant?
Harvard.
He's on a 330K per week contract right now.
Yeah, I don't know how he managed.
So the ambition is there now, but the ambition doesn't extend as far as Mbappe. I'm pretty sure about that.
Anyway, well, I mean, like I said, I
It
didn't
doesn't
think
happen.
that Casemiro would go to Manchester United last season, and that happened. So we never know. We never know what can happen in a transfer window. You never know. Maybe Mbappe is like, yeah, this always.
Casemiro is on the wrong side of 30 anyway right now, so he can take the decision, but Mbappe, I don't think so.
I'm sure for Mbappe, it's Real
It's not
Madrid
going to
or
happen.
nothing. I mean, he doesn't care about anything else.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, I think that's why he wants to stay for a year because I think Real Madrid will not pay a fee for him, so he wants to go there. So he's got to wait a year. But PSG don't want to lose him for free. So there's still that we haven't heard the last. There's still going to be a lot more that's going to run and run and run. We'll
It's
see.
kind of like a, it's kind of like an exaggerated Mount saga.
Oh, so well, I know, and Mason Mount will seem like the Kim Min Jae deal compared to Kylian Mbappe, like how fast Mount will run. But it's all Mbappe is going to run and run. He's been running for 2 years already. Like it's like he's been running, running.
Exactly.
Yeah, so keep on.
Yeah, suddenly the president will call him and tell him that you stay, so
Uh,
he'll stay.
no, well, right now the French have other bigger problems to deal with. That as unfortunate as sad as it is, I think there's much bigger problems for France right now than to worry about where Mbappe is going. So, but anyway, right, got a bit political there. But moving on to another forward, Siddhant, Harry Kane. Every year we say he should leave. Sometimes he says he should leave. Sometimes he says he should leave. But he never leaves. But this year, Bayern Munich have made him their top priority transfer, like top striker priority. They want him. Harry Kane apparently has said that he wants to leave, but hasn't said it publicly. But he said that he wants to go to Bayern Munich. Well, there's two parts to it. So let's start. How likely is this transfer? Like, do you think it will happen? Because we are here, we've been here so often. But do you think it's likely to happen? Or do you think Tottenham will just go, no, you're not going? And do you think Kane will accept that if Tottenham say no?
From my understanding, Spurs will literally try to price him out because Bayern will never overpay. So I think they have put in a bid of around something which is equivalent to 60 million pounds.
Yeah, that's
And from what it was reported, they are willing to go up till 86 million pounds, I think around 100 million euros or something.
yeah,
Whereas Levy is looking for more than 100 million pounds for him to leave. And Levy is such that he's a very difficult person to deal with. It has been known for years. And he does it deliberately because he doesn't want Kane to leave, you know.
yeah,
So, but I think it's kind of like now or never for Kane. I mean, he's like 30, right? He's already 30.
almost.
So,
He's going to be 30 soon.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Now, if Kane puts in like a formal transfer request and, just clarifies to Spurs that I'm not going to sign a new deal and I want to leave now, then there is a good chance that, Spurs accept the money and finally let him go.
yeah.
But that's the point, whether he submits a transfer request, a formal transfer request or not, or does he respect Spurs too much to do that? So that's the real question over here.
And then the question, Girish, should he respect Spurs so much and not agitate for him?
No, I think it's more of a question of comfort zone again. He's almost 30, as Siddhant said, and he's the captain of England, and I guess he's gonna stay here, till the end of the contract, and maybe he might leave on announcement out of the respect that he has for Spurs. Maybe that must be the case if he's delaying. And I don't think he's going to put in a request unless and until Bayern come up with maybe £100 million move. Even though he's
He's
just got
not
a
worth
year on his
100 million
contract,
pounds.
I don't
No,
think
if,
it's
if
going to
somebody pays
happen.
100 million pounds for him, they've been
Rather,
stupid. Like he's not worth 100 million pounds. By the way, I think somebody's playing my video in the background because I can keep hearing myself, unless it's me. But I don't think it's me playing it, is it? It's not me. So
no, it's not me
no,
as
mine
well.
is muted. I'm not sure. Like I keep hearing myself, but maybe it's just my feedback. I do have my stream running, but I have it's muted. So nonetheless, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, and honestly, I think Kane has got to be ruthless with his decision of wanting to leave, and I don't know. I don't know whether he will do it. I hope he does.
Didn't I say earlier that Spurs are lazy? This might be a question of again being
Yeah.
lazy
Well, I mean,
again.
that's.
Lazy as an attitude.
Nah, I don't know. I just yeah. I mean, from his point of view,
You don't want to be shift boxes in 30. Shift around with your boxes in 30.
yeah.
Shift your home and shift your boxes after when you turn 30. So I think he's going to
Well,
stay
I think
here.
he might go to Chelsea next year. If he does leave next year, he'll probably go to Chelsea because it's in London and Pochettino is there. If he's still there next year, we don't never know with Chelsea managers. But if
Maybe.
he's
There
still there,
was there was this there was this wild article by a journalist called as Matt Law.
hmm
They were like that. He was like that Kane is building a new home which is just 15 miles from Cobham, the training center of Chelsea. So Spurs have to be very careful, otherwise he might just move to Chelsea next season. There was no source to it. There was no, nothing leading to it, but that's just his wild theory. But from my understanding, it will never happen. Even as a free transfer, it will never happen that Harry Kane joins Chelsea. Not in a million years.
somebody is playing in the background. I can hear my voice now. I'm pretty sure somebody's playing my me in one of their videos. I don't know who it is, but somebody's doing it. I don't know if it's me or if it's someone else, but it's definitely happening. So I'm just not sure where it's coming from. But anyway, yeah. Cool. Right. I mean, that's Harry Kane. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, he does leave for the sake of his career. But I wouldn't hold my breath on it if he's still at Spurs.
He was linked to Manchester United at one point of time.
Yeah, at the start of the season, he was Man United's like top striker target, but then they knew that Spurs were never going to sell to him. Spurs basically, Levy was never going to sell unless we paid like 120, 130 million pounds. It's never going to happen. I knew it was not going to happen, and quite frankly, I didn't want Kane either because I feel it's past time from Kane.
Yeah.
It's no longer the transfer is just past you. Like it should have happened 5 years ago. Now it's just bring him in. Unless you bring him for short term, and it doesn't, the economics would never make sense. So I was okay with that. But yeah, that was never really going to happen. Let's move on to Chelsea signing a lot of young. Speaking of young, past time, and Chelsea is signing a lot of youngsters. So then, I mean, that's going under the radar. Like they know all these big deals are happening in front of the Caicedo and interest in other players, but they're signing all these young players that they bring in. I don't even remember the names. There's a Diego Moreira, I think that they're signing on a free
Yeah, there's
transfer.
a Moreira guy from Benfica,
Angelo,
and there is
yeah, Angelo, who they're bringing in as well.
yeah,
Angelo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's this
come on,
Angelo.
why Chelsea holding so much talent all over again? Like, what's happening?
No, but I think actually it is getting more news than it's required because I think clubs keep filling up their under 21s all the time. For some reason, Chelsea is getting the news. I think every year all clubs sign like, 10, 15 players for their academies. But
Yeah.
but some of them are good prospects. So basically, one of the earlier signings of this season, Kendry Páez of Ecuador.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
he's 16 years old, but I think he got a call for the U21s of Ecuador, and he performed so well in the World Cup that he might actually get a chance to even represent the senior team very soon. That is the rumor going around. So he is one
Mhm.
of the best prospects which we have signed this season. The others I'm not very sure about. Even Angelo, we signed him, and we are probably going to loan him to the other club which like in the multi-club model, Racing Strasbourg. So he's
Mhm.
probably getting lined up for a loan move over there. So
Yeah.
but not very sure how that guy is. But the best prospect, if you're talking about prospects, it's Kendry Páez, the 16-year-old Ecuadorian, and he cannot sign officially for Chelsea before 2025 because there is a law which says that
18 years
when you
old.
are 18 years old, yeah, then you can
Yeah.
sign. So
Yeah, yeah, he can't sign on 2025. I think, but a lot of these clubs are now doing this kind of future deals. Even Real Madrid have done it with one of their
yeah,
players. I think, yeah, that
they
people are
they paid
signing.
huge money. Yeah.
Yeah, the vision for somebody to come in like 2, 3 years later is just weird, isn't it? But it's interesting how football is changing and what's happening. But it's yeah. But I was just saying Chelsea in the news because they're signing a lot of youngsters from South America, especially they're bringing in a lot of these talent in. So very interesting, trying to build the future, right? Which is something. But yeah, share your thoughts, of course, in the comments. And I think we'll end with fine with well, actually we'll end with a couple more. Kyle Walker and Bernardo Silva, Girish. I mean, both of them were linked with moves. Kyle Walker to Bayern, I think Bernardo Silva to Barcelona. I keep hearing Bernardo Silva and Saudi Arabia as well. Bernardo Silva also has interest in Saudi Arabia. It's all gone quiet now. There's just no news about this. Is that what do you see them leaving this thing?
Uh,
Bernardo Silva
I know. I guess
every
Siddhant
year.
did.
Yeah, never leaves. But
Yeah, yeah, and I think Siddhant was telling that Bayern do it under the radar again. So maybe Kyle Walker is on the move to Bayern. Maybe he is seeking some new challenges. And as for Bernardo Silva, I guess he's going to stay again. Yeah, I don't think he's going to. Yeah, Guardiola isn't going to let him leave,
yeah,
as far as I know.
yeah.
So he does have his own favorites, isn't it, Guardiola? So I don't think he's going to part ways with Bernardo as such. But Walker, I guess he's going to move. He's going to be on the move to Bayern.
Yeah, that was very hot like
Pretty
a
sure
week ago
about
though.
it.
Like a week ago, there's very hot, and suddenly there's been no news. Since
Yeah,
then, there's been nothing. It's just
yeah.
been that they're offering Walker's been offered a new contract with
Yeah, yeah.
Manchester City. Which,
So I
The
think Ben is more focused on signing striker at first.
possibly, yeah. But I think
so
Manchester City want to keep Walker as well. So I don't know. Yeah,
yeah, so after the reports of interest from Bayern, there were reports that Pep Guardiola himself wants Walker to stay. So,
yeah.
and if Pep personally tells Walker to stay, then I think he might end up staying. But yeah, but now that he has won everything with City, he probably could be looking for a new challenge,
Yeah.
especially in the last few years of his career. So we never
Possibly.
know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it'd be nice if he went abroad, but yeah, I do feel that might be something. But it's just the strange part. It just went all quiet, like it was like a storm, and it just went quiet. So I don't know what's happening there. Final one, David De Gea, I think has officially left the club, but he might
Yeah.
resign a new contract. But he's now officially a free agent, so he can negotiate. I don't think he
And
should come back.
he's getting married today or tomorrow, right?
Yes, yes, yeah. Over the weekend, yeah. Today, or tomorrow, he's getting married. Yeah, yeah. It's like it's wonderful. Well, does his wife know that he doesn't have a job anymore? Yeah, no, it's a good idea, right? To get married, right? And no, I'm sure he will get another club soon. That's all right. I don't think
No,
that
it was
nobody's.
damn weird. I mean, he signed the contract and United didn't sign the contract.
Yeah, they pulled it back, right? It was just, yeah, there's a whole. I know that's a whole mess. I mean, we've done a video about that. It's a whole mess with what has happened with David De Gea. But replacements. Andre Onana is the hot favorite at the moment to sign. 50 million euros plus whatever add-ons. So probably I think looking on 60 million euros for him. We saw you. I'm sure you guys saw him at the Champions League final, probably. And might have seen a few other Serie A games as well. But Siddhant, 60 million euros. Do you think that's a fair price for
Even
him?
actually, even Chelsea were in for him, but again, after hearing the 60 million euro price tag, they backed out. So the best part about Onana is, he's really good with his feet. He has really good ball control, and maybe, the modern football wants that, but not very sure whether he's a world-class shot stopper. I think that's the basic necessity for a goalkeeper, which these days, people talk about the supplementary skills, like, whether, how good he can pass or how good can he distribute. But that's like the supplementary part. The main part is shot stopping. I'm not even sure that he's a better shot stopper than, when D gets
Maddison.
not, yeah. So that's the thing. I think Mike Magnan of AC Milan is a better shot stopper than, Onana.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
In fact, Onana was the best passer in that finals, in my opinion. In that Inter Milan side,
right.
I was expecting Brozovic to set up a lot, but all the attacks came from Onana. From that aspect, yes, of course, he's great. But United don't have a great defense,
Exactly.
to cover up for the shot-stopping abilities. I don't think it should happen.
Well, I mean, they need a goalkeeper, so I mean, it's not going to be there. They need to bring in somebody, right? They need to
So
bring
they
because
have
they can't. Yeah,
so they have stopped
So-
Tom Heaton from leaving. So that might be a goalkeeper.
yeah,
They've got Henderson and Heaton right
yeah.
now.
Wouldn't everybody love Tom Heaton to be the number one next season?
Hey, it's not as bad as Kepa being the number one for Chelsea next season. I mean,
In fact, Kepa did quite well actually. Whenever he pulled on the shirt in place of Mendy the last season,
he does.
He was pretty decent.
He
I don't
does
think he was
well.
really worst.
He does well from close range, but he's a cheat code when it comes to long shots. He just misses them.
Cheat code for the opposition, though, not for yourself. It's a glitch, I guess.
Obviously.
A glitch
Yeah.
where let's go.
Yeah, it's a cheat code for the opposition.
Well, but I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I like him. I've seen a YouTube compilation of him where he let in some very, very easy shots. Like his shots, you say he's not a good shot stopper. I would say if you watch that video, you would be like me and you'd panic and you'd be like, what the hell are we getting ourselves into? Because there's some really, really bad shots that he's let in. He makes De Gea's mistakes against Sevilla look like he still makes him look world class. Even with those mistakes that he made. So that is a worry. But at the same time, I think at the moment of all the options that are available, I think he's probably the best of the available. Because if you could go and get Thibaut Courtois, I would go and get Thibaut Courtois, but you're not going to get Thibaut Courtois. So you're not, So I mean, So you've got to look at all the other options. Manuel, for me, I think he's good, but I think Milan will not sell him at this point. I think they've already lost enough players. I don't think they will sell him. Diogo Costa is the other one that's linked, but he had a pretty bad World Cup. So again, how good is he mentally to play for United? I don't know. And then you're starting to look at players like David Raya. Jason Steele is one that's interesting, but I don't think Brighton will sell him either. I would go with Jason Steele actually. That would be interesting, but I don't think they will sell him. So.
He's brilliant.
Yeah, not for big money.
No, so they have to sell. Brighton has to sell one of their goalkeepers, right? Either they have to sell Sanchez or they have to sell Steele.
They'll probably sell Sanchez. Yeah,
and he's not bad as well. He's not that bad.
Yeah, he's good, but he's regressed. Yeah, he's regressed.
Sanchez with his feet is good.
So, he's not. I mean, again, you don't want to buy a Brighton backup to be United's number one. That does not work. You couldn't do that.
He became. I mean, he became Brighton's backup just in the last 7-8 games, I guess. He was the starting GK. And there were some personal issues. It's not because of his goalkeeping abilities. I think there was some sort of a fallout between him and
between the
last year, if you told me that you could get Sanchez, I would say, yeah, sure, go and get Carlos Sanchez because he's good. But I think now that he's had those issues, you want to wait and see if it's something that he can recover from, right, before you sign somebody like that. So,
right.
But anyway, I think Onana is the best of the available bunch, I think, at this point. Available bunch, not necessarily the best. So we'll see what happens. I mean, 60 million, for me, it seems reasonable. If you can pay 60 million pounds for Mount, then I think you can pay 60 million euros for Onana. I think that's a fair deal when you compare with that. Obviously, if it was Liverpool, probably would get it for 40 million because that's fucking how Liverpool work. But that's Liverpool, right? Somebody actually put this out that Chelsea got 65 million pounds for Havertz, 55 for Mount, and Liverpool only got 50 or 40 for Mane, for Sadio Mane. I think that was Ayush who
Yeah,
had mentioned that.
yeah.
And my response would have been, well, that's because Liverpool were negotiating with Bayern for Mane. Chelsea had Manchester United to stump up that dumb cash that, if Liverpool was selling him to Mane, if they would have paid 100 to United, then United would have paid 100 million pounds for him. So that's, depends on who you're negotiating with as well. It's not just the club's fault. So yeah, that's where we are. Anyway, it's been a long show. It's been almost an hour. I thank you so much, Siddhant. Thank you so much, Girish, for joining on the show, sharing your thoughts
Thank you.
on the deals. I really enjoyed the conversation. If you've enjoyed this conversation, do smash a like on the video. I would love to see that, of course. And do also share your thoughts in the comments and let us know what you think about some of the deals that we just spoken out about. And do you think Mbappe to Arsenal will happen? Let's see. I'm pretty sure everybody will say no. But if you think it'll happen, just say that. Yeah, put it in the comments. Of course, I would love to hear your thoughts. Do subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and we are live on YouTube. We'll also probably upload this to Facebook later. So if you're watching this on Facebook, remember to follow us there as well. Links are in the description. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter. Always appreciate your support, of course. Thank you, Girish. Thank you, Sid, for joining. It's a pleasure to have you and to hear your
Same
thoughts.
here.
Yes, absolutely. And,
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. And so we'll see you again hopefully we'll see you guys again very, very soon. In the future, we won't have to wait a long time to see you again. But we do these group live shows weekly. So please do subscribe and get notified when they drop. So we're doing once a week for now. Thank you so much. Take care. We'll see you again soon.